Welcome to DestinationDionna. I'm Deanna, love guide to all and kept wife strategist to the women I'm called to serve. Please consider my channel your self-help learning library for love. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for our weekly coaching gem, where I give guidance to elevate your love experience. And on Wednesdays at 1 p.m., tune in for Sounds About Wife, where I give my unique wife perspective and prepare professional women like you to become kept wives. So hit that subscribe button and let's start this love journey together. See you soon, my loves. Welcome to season 2, episode 2 of Sounds About Wife. Provision is a given, but are you covered? What am I talking about? He paid for dinner, but you are still left feeling emotionally bankrupt. I'm here to tell you that that is not provision. That's actually a transaction, right? And while we're at it, receiving cash does not mean you're kept. It just means you're contracted. So today, we're talking about what true covering looks like, why it matters, and how to stop mistaking temporary provision for permanent protection. So stick with me to the end because I'm going to give you the signs that will reveal if he's covering you or just compensating you. Now that sounds about wife. So let's get anchored with our scripture, right? We are going to go to the book of Ruth, chapter 3, verse 9. Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family. Ruth didn't say, pay my rent. She said, cover me. There is a spiritual significance to that request, right? It was about covenant. It was about protection. It was about legacy. Too many women are accepting transactional relationships. And I'm all about transformational love. Okay. So he takes me out, but I don't feel safe with him emotionally. That's not good enough. Okay. That actually is the fruit of just being provided for, taken care of, but not being fully covered. Right. And a keeper actually leads, protects, and provides. So the leadership comes first, right? So think of it like this. Provision without direction, without leadership is like being in a car with no GPS, right? It's cute, but you're not going anywhere if you don't know where it is, right? So if you're only secure when the bill comes, when he's taking care of something financially, that still actually is survival. It's not safety. So in today's Sounds About Wife, I'm going to give you 7 signs that he's compensating and not covering you so that you'll be able to tell the difference. Okay. Number 1, he gives money, but avoids meaningful conversations. He gives money, but avoids meaningful conversations. So if every issue is solved with like a gift, a swipe, a Zelle, a Venmo, but you still feel like emotionally unseen, right? I want you to know that you're being pacified, not protected. And in the Keptiverse, provision is a given, right? It is the floor. It is the foundation. We aspire to have keepers, and keepers cover. So number 2, he knows your body but not your burdens. Now, for those of you that are physically intimate without actual commitment, you know I don't recommend that, but I'm still here to support you on your journey, right? So if he can name your favorite position, but not your biggest fear, he's not covering your soul, right? He's just actually consuming your body and your presence. Number 3, he provides luxuries, but doesn't provide leadership. So if there's no spiritual guidance, no vision for your future, and no structure to the connection, you're building your life while he just funds access, right? You're not building anything together. Number 4, he reacts when you're hurt, but doesn't anticipate your needs. Now, it's great for someone to realize that we're hurt by something, realize, there's a need to be met. That's awesome. But a covering man doesn't wait until you're broken to respond, right? He's actually proactive, not reactive. So he's noticing your shifts before you even speak. He's paying attention. He's anticipating needs. And that's what it feels like to be covered. Number 5, he wants you soft, but you still have to be strong. So if you can't rest in your femininity, or you feel like you're always on guard, it's not safe. That still means there's survival there. And you deserve to have all of that. I see a comment. Hold on. That's a good point. Thank you so much. Happy lady. I love that. Hey, Alice, one of the Kepties. Number 6, he invests in the experience, but not in your elevation. So think of it like this. If he can do trips, if he can do dates, if he can do gifts, all of that is cute, right? We like the things. Don't get it twisted. We like that. But if he's not encouraging your healing, your wholeness, your purpose, and when I say encouraging, I also mean anticipating needs, providing, doing all the things, right? That's not partnership. That's performance, right? Anybody can say, oh, I hope it gets better. Anyone can do that. And number 7, he supports your goals until they require his accountability, right? So true covering requires sacrifice. If his support stops when it requires adjustment from him, then he's sponsoring you, right? He's not stewarding the relationship. And what does this look like? This is on my mind, for example, right? So if he can support that you don't want to have sex until you're engaged, at least, but he doesn't think that means him. Right? Like, oh, I support you wanting to abstain. That's great. But can't we still have fun? Like, I'm here. Right? So they support what it is you're doing until it requires them to make a shift. It requires them to make a change. I'll give you another example, right? Because this is new, right? This just happened. So I'm on my wellness journey, right? Like improving myself physically to match with like all the inner work that I've done. So now I'm like just getting my outer to match. And my doctor said, you are doing all the things. You eat well, you have the right supplements, you are drinking your water, like you have a great attitude, like amazing. The one thing that you are not mastering is your sleep. Not only are you not getting enough of it, but you're not getting good quality. So we went through my day, went through all of my stuff, and I have to make a shift. Now, this shift impacts my husband, right? When he's here with me, it's easier for us to do things. We do them together, all of that. But when he's traveling for work, when I need to go to bed early, that cuts into, our talk time, our video time, our things like that. But when I told him about it yesterday, he said, okay, we're not having another conversation about this. It is time for us to do it. I don't necessarily want to do this, but I'm going to bed when you go to bed. We're doing this together. Okay, you swapped and you're doing your workouts in the morning. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do my workouts in the morning. And he gets up before me, right? So he's texting me like push-ups done, right? He is accountable. Like, this is my goal. This is what I'm doing. But he is also participating. He's my partner in it, right? So if he supports your goals, but only until, they require him to do something, that's not full covering, right? So let's get to the Keptie lens, right? You are here on DestinationDionna, also known as the Keptiverse. And we look at things through the Keptie lens. We are not commoners. Commoners are all of the people that are doing what's common, getting the common results. We don't do that here. So here's the mindset and perspective shift necessary, right? That you need to adapt for alignment with covering. Okay. We are shifting from just provision, like he's a good man, to provision is the bare minimum and covering is my standard. Okay. So that's the shift. That is what we're doing. And from what I can see, some of you are just so used to struggle love that provision actually feels like a prize. I get it. Right. But for the kept wife, for my Kepties, my aspiring kept wives, provision is assumed. We assume it. It's a given. Covering is actually the requirement. Now that sounds about wife. And covering means that he's emotionally safe. He's spiritually grounded. And he has the maturity to actually guide, not just give. Okay. And that's what your feminine energy actually thrives under. So if you feel like you're always managing yourself, protecting yourself, and providing emotionally for both of y'all, you are not covered. You're carrying. So I am, the Kept Wife Strategist. So I'm not going to give you a lesson without giving you a strategy. Right. And I know that my community is a mixture. I have a lot of already married women and I love you all. So I want to make sure that I'm talking to you as well. So I'm going to start with the Keptie strategy for my already marrieds. And this is just some practical tips for you to put the lesson into work in your life immediately. Right. So this is what to look for and what to do if you're already married. Number one, I want you to reflect, right? Is he your provider, but not your protector, not your covering? So reflect on that. Next, I want you to invite him into spiritual leadership without demanding. Invite, suggest, right? Let him know you would enjoy more of a spiritual connection. Hey, honey, I don't know how we could make this happen, but I would love to spend time with you, digging a little bit deeper into our spiritual connection. So I don't know if that's prayer. I don't know if that's reading the Bible together. I don't know if that's watching a sermon online. What do you think? How could we be, more spiritually aligned and connected? And let him figure that out and suggest what you all do, right? And then the final thing for my already marrieds, let go of the strong woman mask, right? Covering requires exposure. So you're going to have to be vulnerable in order for there to be a need for covering for him to fill. Okay. Now for the majority of my Kepties who are here because they want to attract a keeper. If you are preparing I want you to stop leading the connections, right? Let men show their covering capacity early, right? I don't want you investing lots of time trying to figure out if they can cover, right? You have to stop leading the connections so that they can show up as their best selves and you can make a decision about whether or not that is valuable to you, whether or not that aligns. I teach this in my Vetting for Value Masterclass, but also in my community, right? So that's the first thing. Stop leading the connection. Next, you need to ask deeper questions, right? So ask questions about how he would handle emotional conflict, right? Ask if he has wise counsel that holds him accountable. Ask him who and what he's accountable to and for, right? Ask him the questions that will let you know if he is able to discern your emotional shifts without you explaining. Okay? So that's what my Kepties who are preparing for marriage need to do. Stop leading the connection and ask deeper questions. Okay. You know, I hate to say this, but some of you really haven't been covered for so long that you have learned to actually dress for storms. And I don't just mean physically dress, I mean mentally as well. Like, you have learned to like brace for impact. You have learned to cover yourself, right? But kept wives, kepties, we're covered women, which means we rest differently. We move differently. We receive differently. And I want that for you. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with this. Just because he pays, it doesn't mean he prays, and it doesn't mean he can cover. Right. And if he can't cover you spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, then your feminine softness, it will always feel like a risk instead of a reward. That's the reason why you frown your face up when you hear femininity talk. It doesn't feel safe to you. But you weren't made to beg for covering or to feel unsafe like that. You were made to actually blossom under it. So I just want to say, if this message hit you today, right? If you saw yourself in any of those 7, right? You're not crazy. You're just craving real covering, right? Not just surface level or counterfeit provision. And you don't need another date to tell you that. You actually need some direction. So I want to make a recommendation. And my recommendation is this. You need to know what real covering feels like. Not just the financial kind, but the leadership kind, right? The emotional safety, the spiritual discernment. And that gets displayed and modeled weekly in my community. Until my Kepties have their own keeper, my husband provides covering for all of them. He provides spiritual guidance, spiritual alignment, and he helps them with their masculine awareness. So I created the Keptie Confidential, right? It is a private closed door experience. So there's no recording of it, none of that, because I'm literally peeling back the layers and giving you a sneak peek, right? It shows what it's like to receive coaching from me and what it's like to be inside of my community, right? It's the only way to be considered for entry into the Keptie community. And this happens the first Wednesday of every month. Okay. So if you are interested in that, the link is in the description of the video for you to attend the Keptie Confidential. There's your invitation, right? Now, for those of you who heard this message and maybe it revealed to you that you've been surviving off scraps and calling it love, right? I need you to get my book, Break Up Now. right? Because God never asked you to stay in something that he did not ordain or that does not honor him. So the pre-order for my book is starting next week, September 17th, my birthday. And I invite you to join me here for the live book reading. So you're going to hear some excerpts from the book. I'm going to answer some questions, and the pre-sale will be beginning. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and your notification bell is on. Or you can go to DestinationDionna.com, which is my website, and join the community. There's a link. Hit join the community, put your information in. You'll be on my email list. You will get notified every time I go live. You'll get a little email. It'll say Dionna's live now. Join her. You could click it. Boom. You don't have to remember anything. So go ahead and do that. I would love to have you join my community online, right? So that's it for today, ladies. Share this with a woman who's been confusing provision with partnership, right? And remember, keep it kept. I will see you live on Monday for my walk and talk love lesson, or next week, Wednesday, for my live book reading of Break Up Now. All right. I love y'all. See you next week.